I feel a little height challenged here. Look over. But thank you, Richard, and thanks for the opportunity to present at the meeting. In addition to being department head, I'm also engaged in research in high-performance computing, in particular performance analysis of applications on parallel systems. And I also do work in outreach. So today, Richard asked me to talk about the outreach activities, in which I'm also involved with the Center for Minorities and People with Disabilities in IT. And so one of the activities with that center has been involved with holding faculty workshops for underrepresented junior faculty as well as senior grad students. And so we've been holding the workshop since 2005, and it's been funded by NSF since 2007. And the center, Commanded, has been in existence only this year, so it's a new center. So with that, I want to start off first with a scenario, and that is to understand what I'm going to talk about in terms of faculty diversity. Let me ask you to imagine that you are interviewing for a new position as a faculty member. You went to a university, and that university, you found in that department where you were interviewing, all the faculty were all women. When you looked at the university, the administrators were all women. So throughout your day of interviewing, you saw the students, and the students were all women. As you walked around campus, you saw a few men, they were students, but you didn't see any men who were faculty throughout the entire day. When you went and toured the area, you also saw all women. By the end of your interview, you probably would ask yourself, am I really, especially being a man, asking yourself, am I really a good fit for this department? It seems like they want all women. Now, let's say you may decide to take that position in that department, but while a faculty member, you do want to have some time with other men. But in the department, again, it's all women. So you have to take it upon yourself to reach out and find other men in the community in which to actually have a grouping. So if we look at this scenario, this is what minorities face a great deal when interviewing for faculty positions. So with that, I'm going to talk about faculty issues. So first, if we talk about why diversity, and by diversity, I'm looking at underrepresented groups as well as people with disabilities, why is really important. It's important in terms of student faculty is really good if it resembles the student demographics. Having diverse faculty allows you to have diverse perspectives when you're looking at curriculum issues or programs within a department. It also increases engagement. When you see others that look like yourself in a department, you become more engaged. And then there's the issue of role models. We underestimate oftentimes the need for role models, and I'll give one example. Throughout my career as an undergraduate student at Purdue, where I finished my master's and then finished a Ph.D. at Berkeley, I never had a black woman instructor in front of me. So when I became, the first time I'm teaching at Northwestern, the first class, all these questions come to mind because I never had someone who looked like me stand in front of me, and that becomes an issue. When we look at faculty diversity, oftentimes we have three major issues that result, and it results from any diversity or any culture for which there are small numbers. So this relates to minorities, it's also women. So when we look at the issue about isolation, and that issue becomes what we talked about in the example. When you're in a department where you are the only, to actually have a common group, you have to go outside of the department, go outside in the community, which takes a lot of time. And oftentimes your focus, especially at a Research One university, is on the research. When you look at the issue about self-doubt, that goes back to the lack of role models. And again, I go back to the example, when you don't have someone that looks like you stand in front of you or actually do that job for which you are seeking, you start to ask questions, why? And then there's the issue about the heavy load. Oftentimes, minority faculty are asked to serve on various committees to represent the perspective of minorities. And for me, being a black woman, I'm asked to represent the perspective of minorities as well as women. So you can imagine how many committees I get asked to serve on. Okay. So I want to now switch to talking a little bit about recruiting. And that is to talk about some things that have been proven to actually be productive and successful. And that is, when you're looking at faculty recruiting and you're looking at the schedule issue, you want to inquire about special interests. So for example, when I interviewed at Texas A&M, it was really good that on my schedule, they had dinner with black faculty. That gave me an opportunity to ask the black faculty at Texas A&M about environment, about the community, and other aspects of living in College Station. Then you want to look at community. That aspect is important for all faculty. And one thing we do in our department, when we have faculty interviews, we often include time to go out and see the community. And that is, see the area, see the schools. And that becomes important because while your focus is on research, you do have a personal life, and that's important. And then the faculty discussion and follow-up, you want to facilitate that open discussion, especially when you have diverse candidates, because oftentimes that discussion may deviate. And I think it's important to have an open discussion, but facilitate it. Then lastly, I want to talk about, and this is the last slide.
Okay, you got 0 time.
Yes, and that is environment. And mentoring programs are very important. Allow faculty to have input and establish common expectations. Department events, are they inclusive? That's an important factor. And decisions, to have broad input, and I think also that was brought up by Donna, and that is disaggregating data when you're collecting data to actually facilitate program development. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Valerie.